I've been a performer on cruise ships since 2017, and believe me when I say this might be one of the best jobs in the world. This job has allowed me to travel to over 70 countries, meet some amazing people, including my boyfriend Robert, all while living out my dream of singing and dancing on stage. In this video, I'm going to give you guys all the information you need if you want to be a performer on cruise ships too, or if you're simply intrigued about what goes into auditions, getting the job, and then living, working, sleeping, everything on a cruise ship. So let's get into it. Let's start in 2017 when I graduated college. I graduated with a degree in musical theater and a minor in dance. At the end of my junior year, I saw some of the seniors were auditioning for cruise lines and a bunch of other things, and it just piqued my interest. So I looked into it and was like, okay, I get paid to sing and dance. I get to travel. My room and food is all covered. Where's the bad part in this? Sounds great to me. And for the most part, it has been amazing, and I do love the job so much. Of course, there are pros and cons with every sort of job, but that's kind of how I got started. 5 years later, we're still here. I'm still loving it. So I'm gonna tell you guys everything you need to know if you also wanna work on cruise ships as a performer. We're gonna go through the audition process, rehearsals, what it's like on board, everything I can think of if you wanna become a performer on cruise ships. Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. You're gonna need to audition for cruise lines. I find that the best place to find these is just by going to the cruise line's entertainment website, so just by searching Royal Caribbean auditions, Norwegian Cruise Line auditions, and then there you can see what their in-person auditions are, or maybe they have online auditions, but that's definitely the best place to start. Other places to look would be backstage.com or Actors Access. So the first thing you're gonna do, go to those individual websites for each cruise line and see if they have an online portal. On there you can add your reels, headshot, resume, any additional material that they ask for. And then of course, if you have an agent, that always helps. They can get you into auditions that are maybe appointment only, but for the most part, you're gonna still wanna go create that profile, and then your agent can get you submitted for everything else. A quick little note on reels: if you're gonna put your reels on your profile, you wanna make sure that they show the best of the best. If you're coming right out of school and you don't have a lot of performance footage to put in your reel, honestly, get into the studio, film classes that you're taking, and just show the best parts of you. Don't make it too long. I would say probably between 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. And then for singers, if you have a movement reel, I think that's also really helpful, because for cruise lines, you do have to move quite a bit as a singer. It does depend on the shows. Sometimes they expect you to be able to move really well. So if you have a movement reel put together, that's just gonna help you in the long run. Okay, so your profile is all set up if you need one, and it's time to actually start auditioning. Where did you guys audition?
I auditioned online. Mostly, it was all online. I never went anywhere to audition.
I went to an open call in London, and I also submitted online. I went to the open call, and then I went to like a few other auditions for like other shows on their shit, and I didn't get those. And then I also submitted online in November, and then I got offered the job in December. So I don't know where it came from.
I think at the end of the day, a lot of things have changed from the pandemic. They do hire a lot of people through video, but I will say, from my experience, in-person auditions are usually always better. Just going up to them, looking them in the eye and saying thank you for the audition, they could easily remember you. Be like, oh yeah, I do remember her from that New York audition, whatever it was. So I just think in-person is a little bit better. Okay, let's talk about what to expect at a cruise line audition. I haven't worked for every company, but I have applied and auditioned for many of them. I have applied for Disney, Carnival, Norwegian, Royal, Celebrity, Princess. It's kind of like the main ones in the US. I've applied for all of them. I have found that there is kind of a formula that all of them do for the most part. So starting with the dancer audition. Usually you don't need to prepare anything beforehand. You're gonna learn all of the combinations once you get there. Oftentimes they will start with one combination, make a cut, do a second, and then maybe do a third. It just depends on how many people are at the audition. I have been to an audition where I was in New York, and there was probably like 75 dancers, and then I went to one in Denver and there were 7. So they didn't make any cuts, thankfully. That would have been kind of harsh. It depends on how many people are there, but definitely expect to do a couple of rounds.
What is some advice you would give to someone auditioning for a cruise ship?
Ooh,
I think really train in all styles before you go, because at the audition and throughout the shows we really do a wide variety of styles, so you need to be well versed in everything.
And then as a singer, for the most part, you will have to prepare songs that they have asked you to bring. A lot of the times they'll have tracks available for you to practice with, and then that will be the same track that they play at the audition. And then as a singer, they'll normally have you do a movement call. It's not too intense. A lot of the time that maybe we'll have like one kick and one turn. It's definitely not as intense as the full-on dancer audition. And what is some advice you would give to someone who wants to audition as a singer for cruise ships?
Ooh. If they're trying to get hired.
Why wouldn't they be trying to get hired?
Don't be discouraged if you don't hear back immediately about something, because as long as your name is being thrown into like the talent pool, there's always opportunities that are going to come up. They're always hiring for different positions. So don't be discouraged if you don't get something that you go for at first, because you very likely could be getting another opportunity a couple months or weeks down the line.
And how long did you wait to get a contract?
I waited, I think it was 2 months.
1 week.
1 week, wow.
Only 3 days.
6 months.
Like March, April, June, July.
You missed me.
What's September?
October, November. 7 months.
7 months before you heard back. I auditioned for Norwegian, I think 3 times, Disney twice, and then for Royal, I was hired through a video. So all different things can happen. It just depends on what they need in that moment. Just be prepared for anything. Do you have any advice for someone auditioning for a cruise ship?
If they say no to you the first time, try again, because you'll get the job.
When you're auditioning to be in the production cast, it's just a general audition, and then they're gonna send you to whatever ship they see fit for you. When it's your first contract, a lot of the time you can't request a certain ship or a certain show. They just give you what they think will, you know, fit best for you. And so don't expect, you know, oh, I thought that I was auditioning for Icon of the Seas. No, you were just auditioning for all of the production shows. You could be put on any one of the Royal Caribbean ships. Okay, so you auditioned, you got the job, and now it is time to head to rehearsals. Rehearsals are honestly the hardest part of any contract, in my opinion. You're dancing and singing 6 days a week, often for 8 hours a day, and you have to learn a lot really fast. And then housing is normally provided. It might be an apartment, it might be like in Royal's case, it's on a campus, so it's like a dorm style, and you'll have to share with other people in your cast.
Either it could be super easy and breezy, like CoverGirl, or it can be a bit strenuous, because you can work up to 8 hours a day dancing.
Rehearsal process, it was fun. It was good. It's long days.
Okay, so rehearsals are over, thank God. And now it's time to go to the ship, the best part, the reason why we do it. So you did rehearsals with your cast. Your whole cast is gonna go onto the ship with you, and you guys are gonna be together for the entirety of your contract, as long as nobody leaves, which happens quite a lot. So once you're on board, this is really gonna vary from cruise line to cruise line as to what your daily life looks like. When I was working for Regent, which is owned by Norwegian, it's one of their luxury brands, the cast was also like cruise staff, so every 12 days we would have to do games, maybe host karaoke, dinner with the guests. We did a lot of socializing, so you might have a lot of extra duties along with performing. Or like here on Royal, I really don't have any extra duties aside from the shows. I'm just a dancer, which is really awesome. I love it here. And so a lot of the extra things that we do are related to the job. So we'll do dance classes with our dance captain. We do occasionally have to teach dance classes, though that is quite rare. The singers have additional sets. They might have a 70s party, or some of the featured singers even have to create their own 20-minute show. And then additional rehearsals for things like reblocks if somebody is sick or leaves the contract, or maybe if you're on board during Christmas, you guys might have to put together a Christmas show. Really just depends on the cruise line and what your cruise director asks of you. What is something about ship life that you didn't expect?
I didn't expect the extra duties. All of the extra duties you have to do.
What is your favorite thing about working on a cruise ship?
Getting off in the ports and traveling. Amazing places.
And then before you leave rehearsals, they will usually ask if somebody wants to be dance captain, vocal captain, or wardrobe supervisor. On Norwegian, the wardrobe supervisor was a completely separate position. This person came on board with us and they maintained our costumes, our wigs, did the laundry. So amazing. On Royal, it's actually someone in the cast. So they do a little bit of training before we leave rehearsals and they learn how to sew, how to, you know, repair things. And then also for vocal captain and dance captain, there is additional pay. Dance captain often has a couple more additional roles. He does all of our scheduling. He deals with like kind of like HR. If there's like discrepancies within the cast, he deals with that. But then he also deals with reblocks. So we had someone leave and he had to reblock the entire show, set up those rehearsals, teach us the reblock. The dance captain definitely does a lot.
Tell us some of your responsibilities as vocal captain.
Oh, I got so many responsibilities. Watch the show, take notes, make any adjustments with the sound, communicate with the band leader, schedule any additional rehearsals, I guess. And then, yeah, if someone was to leave, I would be responsible for teaching that person the show, to put them into the show.
When it comes to roommates, they often put the cast together. Singers on some ships will get their own rooms and dancers usually room together. And then for onboard privileges, the performers oftentimes have total guest area access. I do want to mention that occasionally the singers will have more privileges than the dancers. That's gonna depend on the cruise line. In my mind, it's a little bit silly, but... And then every single person on the ship has a safety duty, so be prepared that once you get on board, you're gonna get your safety card with your safety number. You'll have to do additional trainings, possibly weekly, monthly. It depends on the safety officer on board. Yeah, be prepared for safety duties.
What is something about ship life that you didn't expect?
Because I feel like I really prepared myself mentally in a way, but I couldn't.
No, I was not ready for a lot of the things that happened. The drills and like stuff like that.
Yeah, I
So
wasn't expecting the drills. I didn't think about all the
It's gonna be
logistics that go into it.
and
Yeah.
sing and
Yes.
yeah, I didn't expect to be
Yeah.
like, you know, drill.
Yeah.
A drill leader, yeah.
And then there is an expectation to maintain your health and wellness while on board. And so you might be asked to do a certain number of gym hours a week. You might have to do appearance photos or weigh-ins, which I know sounds insane, and it kind of is, but it's just something that I have found and wanted to share with you guys. The main reason that they do it is to make sure that you are fitting into your costume, so your costumers aren't having to take things in and out constantly. But I won't lie, it's kind of intense, and it's just... yeah, kind of intense. What's your favorite part?
You, honey.
Oh. Okay, and what's your least favorite part?
You also.
Yeah.
The food.
The food.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. The food. Okay, so you auditioned, you rehearsed, you did your contract, you had a great time. Now you're deciding, do I want to do another one? This depends on the cruise line of how they kind of do their process. A lot of times you'll just email casting and say, hey, would love to do this, and then you wait to hear if they give you a contract. I have seen in the past, you say, hey, I would love to do another contract, and they say, great, we have you in our system, and then you might not hear ever again. It might take 6 months, it could take a week. You might know before you leave your current contract where you're going to be going next. But I will say, just because you did get one contract with a company doesn't guarantee that they will continuously give you those contracts. It just depends on what they're looking for, what they need at that time. Okay, that was a lot of information, and I hope that if you are interested in becoming a dancer or a singer or any type of performer on cruise ships, this gave you just a little bit of an insight out of, you know, the kind of the basics of what to expect. As I've said throughout this whole video, it does depend on the cruise line. This is really just my experience having worked for Norwegian and Royal, but I do know, you know, I've talked to other people who've worked on different cruise lines, and a lot of the things are pretty similar. There might be little differences, so you can expect pretty much the same thing across the board. If you have any other questions, drop them below and I will definitely answer them. And I wish you the best of luck if you are auditioning. You're gonna be amazing. And that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!
Bye!
And how many contracts have you done?
This is my third contract.
And is this your favorite one?
No.
Do you like working on a cruise ship?
Yes!